And it is a beautiful day.
Welcome back to Billing Insights,
your favorite podcast
for medical billing. I did want to let you know that we still are not in the ideal setup. Construction is taking longer than we thought it would, but we're hanging in there and we're ready for our glow up. So if you are new here, my name is Taylor.
And I'm Anita.
And we're excited to introduce to you our new segment, Billing Banter, ICD-10 codes gone wild. Oh no! So, Anita, what are ICD-10 codes?
So ICD-10 codes are a mixture of letters and numbers used to identify and categorize a specific medical condition, symptom, disease, or a reason for a patient encounter. So why did that patient go to the physician's office or to the hospital or wherever?
So we decided to come up with our own top 10 list for some of the most outlandish diagnosis codes used.
And these are some of our personal favorites.
Of course, it is unfortunate that people find themselves in these situations, but you can find humor in healthcare.
Some of these are just interesting or uncommon or just downright funny. But most of these are external cause codes, which describe the circumstances of an injury, but not the nature of the injury.
They can't be listed in the primary position.
So you would need to code something else like a contusion, which is a bruise, or a laceration, which is a cut, or pain, or something like that in the primary position, and then code the external cause code afterwards.
So we are going to start with number 10 and work our way up to number 1. So starting with number 10, X52.XXXA, prolonged stay in a weightless environment, initial encounter.
So if you don't know, there are 2 NASA astronauts that are still stranded in space since June of 2024. They're actually in the International Space Station. And but when they are returning back to Earth and they go to their physician's office to get a checkup, their physician may use prolonged stay in a weightless environment to denote what reason they're coming in to see the physician for.
So this is the most tame one on our list. This is something that we just think is pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
So number 9.
Number 9, W17.3XXA. This is falling into an empty swimming pool. Now you notice the reason why that's funny is because it's not a filled swimming pool. Why do they have 2 different diagnosis codes to denote what's happening in a swimming pool?
Right. It's like they had to specify which type of pool. Maybe at some point, maybe ICD-9 just had falling into a swimming pool. And then enough people fell into an empty one that now we have falling into an empty swimming pool. I mean, don't quote me on that because I didn't look it up, but this one is kind of weird. So, number 8. W22.02XA, walked into a lamppost, initial encounter. So I thought that they would just have walked into object, like it would be all-inclusive for a wall, a lamppost, a desk, whatever you're walking into these days. But they do have a specific one for a lamppost, and that is why our diagnosis code book is this big.
Right. Now, you have to wonder how this thing could actually happen because do you imagine that a person was walking, looking at their phone, not paying any attention, and just the lamppost jumped out in front of them?
Boom. So,
number 7, Y93.D1. This is an activity, knitting and crocheting. And if you can imagine someone stabbing themselves while they're crocheting, maybe they're making a rug or a blanket or something like that, and had to go to the emergency room because they stabbed themselves with their needles while they were doing this. And yes, I know that they use crochet hooks, but still, they stabbed themselves, they went to the ER, and they were given this external cause code.
Number 6, Z63.1, problems in relationship with in-laws. So This one's just funny because they have one for a problem with your brother and your sister and your mother and your brother.
And your significant other.
So now we have problems with the in-laws. Apparently they are so emotionally distressing that you have to go see someone about it. And they decide that it's important enough to code that it's specifically with the in-laws. So number 5.
V91.35XA. Hit or struck by a falling object due to an accident to a canoe or kayak. Now, follow me here. I have this picture in my head of a poor person in their canoe. They're floating down this calm little river in their kayak or their canoe, and then something happens. Maybe they bump into a tree and it puts a hole in their canoe, and then out of nowhere a meteor comes from the sky and falls and hits them on their head.
Bam!
Very specific diagnosis code here. I don't know where this comes from.
Like, you would think that it would be something about how the accident caused something, but it's like there was an accident and unrelated, something falls, you're hit or struck by a falling object.
Right.
So I guess what it's actually intended for is if you hit a palm tree with your canoe and a coconut falls because you hit it. Like, I mean, I'm running out of options here. So that brings us to number 4, W55.29XA. Other contact with cow. Now this one's good because we already have bitten by a cow, we have kicked by a cow. What is this other contact?
Now, again, this is me imagining in my head, but maybe you're busy milking your cow and the cow sits on you.
Crushed by a cow, I think, might already be one.
But hey, what about Tommy Boy? Do you know what they were doing in the movie
They
Tommy
were
Boy?
cow tipping.
Maybe the cow fell on somebody.
It's really hard to say. But now we're getting down to the top 3.
The top 3.
So number 3, this is one that honestly, this is my favorite. W56.01, bitten by a dolphin.
So fun fact, dolphins have 80 to 100 teeth, but if you don't have a pet flipper or you're not working at the local SeaWorld, you probably don't have to worry about that.
Don't.
But I'm just picturing somebody in Florida out there hanging out on the beach and the dolphin just comes flipping up and bites them. I'm sure it's more likely to happen if you're working at SeaWorld or something.
Probably.
So number 2.
W59.22XA. This is fun. Struck by a turtle. Take it on, Taylor.
Okay, so I am now picturing Mario Kart because we have what you refer to as a blue turtle shell. I refer to it as a first place loser. So you're driving in Mario Kart and you can throw different colored shells to hit people off of their thing. If you throw the blue shell, it goes straight to whoever is in first place and really brings them back a few places. Very unfortunate. So I'm just thinking too many people were trying to play real life Mario Kart. They got little go-karts with their friends and started throwing turtles. Either that or you're playing with a snapping turtle and
more likely
it bites your finger and you freak out and you flip it off and then it goes and hits the person behind you. Now you both have to go to the hospital.
And they were struck by a turtle. But you were bitten by a turtle. So here is our top number 1 humorous diagnosis code.
Number 1, V91.07XA, burns due to water skis on fire, initial encounter.
Now, this is hilariously funny. Can you picture this in your head? A person is doing their thing, they're out on the water, their boat is pulling them around on their skis, they're having the greatest time of their life, and somehow their water skis catch on fire. How is that possible?
Really, because like you don't think that would happen. You really don't. You're on the water and it's on fire. Like there's got to be There's logical explanations behind it, I'm sure, but we cannot think of one.
I cannot think of one. But let me tell you, crazy things happen. And they must have happened at some point to some person or more than one person, because why would they have created a diagnosis code if someone hadn't been silly enough to do whatever this strange thing is?
Right. Just make sure it doesn't happen to you. Stay safe out there.
Right.
So there you have it. That's our top 10. We will be discussing humorous diagnosis codes for the holidays in the future. So make sure to keep a lookout for those videos. The first one we will be doing is for Valentine's Day, because love is in the air.
It is something to look forward to.
And definitely something to look forward to. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Since we are still new, we do really need that support.
Yes, we do.
So if you could take the 2 seconds, and if you learned something new today, please
Or even
also hit the
found
like
something
button.
funny today. Hit that like button.
Yes, please. So we will see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Bye.